Jesse Itzler's Built to Speak retreat was the best professional experience of my entire life. Last week, myself, alongside 25 other people, drank from a fire hose of gold for 3 days. And what I wanted to do was share some of the best insights and lessons learned from this experience. And some of the things that we learned from this included being a world-class communicator, from stage, workshops, boardrooms, the practice, preparation, and standard of being a pro in your speaking, speech architecture, storytelling mastery, the business of speaking, body language, stage presence and delivery, mindset and authenticity on stage, plus creating an elevator pitch and positioning. There was so much goodness inside of this that I ended up taking 59 pages of notes because it was just straight fire. And my encouragement for you is when you listen to this, that you listen as if everything that I'm sharing is designed to help support you grow, to create everything that you want in your life, because this truly was a one-of-one life-changing experience for me. And I just want to channel what I can to help provide value for you in this. If this vibes from you, I would love to hear what resonates. Hit me up on Instagram or LinkedIn at Rob Cressy. And of course, I highly recommend you follow Jesse Itzler everywhere and check out his Built by Jesse retreats that he has. They are a 15 out of 10 experience, one of the best things you will ever do in your life. So let's start at the very beginning. And this is, November 2025. So 3 months ago, and I see an IG story from Jesse essentially saying, hey, I'm coming out with a new series called Built by Jesse. There's 4 different retreats, and the very first one is all around speaking, being a world-class communicator. And I've been a part of Jesse's world for, 5 or 7 years, going back from the Build Your Life Resume days to the original Big Ass Calendar Club to 30 Days of Excellence to All Day Running Company. I remember seeing Jesse for the first time in Miami at Marlins Stadium at Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference, where he was the very first speaker on there. I'd never seen him before. And within 5 minutes, I was like, who is this dude wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and a headband? Did he just become my spirit animal? I was all in immediately. I've always vibed with Jesse. I love the way that he designs his life before his business. And I'm someone who loves mastery, who wants to learn from the best. So when I saw that there was an opportunity to learn from Jesse on being the best speaker in the world, I was like, I have to take advantage of this opportunity. This is a one-of-one. Because if I could sit there and say, you can learn how to be the best in the world at something, what would it be and who would you learn from? And for me, I'm like, boom, Jesse Itzler speaking on stage. And that's the opportunity. This has never been done before. And one of the things that Jesse said in his short little vignette on Instagram was, communication is the best skill that you can learn. And yes, this is a skill. And I 100% agree with this because I've got a background of the last 15 years of investing in communication, because my original dream was to get paid to talk about sports for a living. And when a mentor said to me, Rob, if you ever hope to get paid to do what you love, you better be doing it already. Well, how do you get paid to talk about sports for a living? You teach yourself podcasting, audio, video editing, being a host, being on camera, social media marketing, brand building. So this podcast that you're listening to right now is 1,000 plus in the docket of me of living, being a world-class communicator. So despite having that background and a background in improv and being on stage and understanding how to do this, I know there's levels to this game, and more specifically, a standard of excellence, what it looks like to be a pro. And that's what I wanted to learn, because the thing that I'm seeing right now as somebody who coaches entrepreneurs and their teams in the world of AI and ChatGPT is that the world is outsourcing their authenticity and their connection, AKA their heart. Things are becoming very sterile. People talk about coding and automation, and here comes the robots, right? So what do I see in my vision right now? The number one thing that you can do to separate yourself is to be more human. what is a better way to be more human than to be a world-class communicator and storyteller, right? And very few people are going to wake up in the morning and go, oh, the thing that I want to work on right now is being a world-class communicator. But the universe will send you signs and opportunities, and it is up to us to capture those signals and take advantage of them. There's a quote that my mentor, Ed Milet, shared with me that's been pinnacle to my foundation as a high performer. Implement at the speed of instruction. When you are taught something, I don't have to tell you twice. So when I heard Jesse say communication is the number one skill that you can learn, ding, 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 all the alarm bells are going off in my life or going off in my head. So go to the landing page and there's like 5 sentences on there, right? So many people think you need this huge sales page with what's everything that's going to be included in there. Nah, in Jesse's world, I'm sold before I even need to be sold of what's included in this, right? I'm like, cool, sign me up. It's one of the biggest professional investments I've ever made in my entire life in the best way possible, because this changed the way that I showed up. And this is how I show up for everything. So with this, the second I committed to attending this, which was in early January, so probably 3 weeks before Built to Speak started, immediately you create your next level in the ROI the second you make a commitment to something, right? Because I'm now a person who operates at a different level. So in doing this, I want to prepare and did prepare as if this is the most important event of my entire life ever, because it actually was. Because we got an opportunity to have 25 of us in a room together to learn from Jesse and his carefully curated guest speakers that were there. So this included Jesse's agent, Zach Nadler, awesome. Turney Duff, his ghostwriter for his books, who was also a writer on Billions. Jess Ekstrom, his speaking coach. Janine Driver, body language expert. Tristan DeMontebello, who is a world-class speaker and founder of Ultra Speaking. And then, of course, Megan Riley, who helped coordinate it all, and just such a ray of sunshine there. So the room that you are in and who you are learning from was the pinnacle of all pinnacles, right? That's why this was a fire hose of gold. And with this, I was very intentional about my preparation going into this. And one of the things that I created was the idea of being on tour with Jesse. How would I show up differently to this event if I was already on a nationwide tour speaking at sold out arenas with Jesse? What would my brand look like? What would my messaging look like? What would my offers be? What would be my mindset? What would be my routines? What would my content look like, right? Because you can create your next level before that actually happens. I don't need to go to the event to be more prepared for the event. And one of the things that was so foundational for me, and this is speaking entrepreneur and sort of those of us who are dreamers who think and create big, is so often to create your next level, you have to do something before you are ready for that next level. So for me, I saw this retreat as the next level, and you sit there and you're like, well, when am I ready for something like this? Before you're ready is the time to do it. Because now, as I'm sitting here on the back end of this 1 week later, that's why I'm calling this the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life professionally, because it legitimately was. And some of the things that Jesse says that resonates so much with me: you have to put yourself in exceptional places. The universe rewards the bold, where I can attract luck. Right? That's how I was showing up. I didn't know what was going to be in that room or who was going to be in the room or what I was going to learn from. But I know this is a room that I want to be a part of, right? And part of this is one part learning, right? I was so excited about this because my mindset was, this is going to be something that has a lifetime ROI, because you are learning how to be a world-class speaker and communicator from legitimately the best speaker in the entire world. And this is something that, to my knowledge, I have not seen Jesse share anywhere else before, because I've been part of his community for so long. And one of the things that I did in preparation for this is I've written down every conversation, every podcast, every book I've ever read, every course I've ever been a part of. I've written down the notes from every single one of them for 15 years. So I opened up my Evernote file and I saw that I have 171 different notes from all the Build Your Life Resume and 30 Days of Excellence and Calendar Club and Bananas with Jesse, experiences that he's created. So I was reactivating myself inside of that. Of course, I've read his books and I'm a part of that life there. And this just really helped get me in the frame of mind of someone who is there to learn and soak up the experience, but also be someone who's going to be a go-giver, right? I know the energy that I bring to the room. I know the value that I bring to the room. And that's one of the things that I was so excited about with this experience was the people. So you've got, hey, I'm going to learn about being a world-class communicator from stage because I'm actively doing keynote speaking on AI. There is getting to experience Jesse and be in his orbit and learn from his presenters and other speakers. And then there's the what can I learn from the other people in this room? Because there's 25 other people who have made a commitment like myself to be in there. And that's where there's so much gold. So once again, going back to implement at the speed of instruction, one of the things that Jesse said that I always remembered is he's like, whenever you go to a conference or a party, always stay late. Because all the interesting people are always the ones staying late. So when it came to this event, I showed up the night before early and I was the last one to leave, right? Because I didn't know who I was going to meet, but I wanted to create the space and the opportunity for luck to happen. And it legitimately worked for me because on that very first night I showed up, this was in Atlanta, in Buckhead, I was able to grab dinner with 4 other people who then became my friends. And then on the back end there, when everybody else was getting out, I had a 9:30 flight. Why? Because I don't know what's going to happen during this event and who I might meet or what we might be able to do. So creating that space of that container, because I'm not trying to rush out of this thing. I'm looking to milk every single drop out of this in the best way possible. And some of my best conversations happened on these bookends there. So the lesson for you is the next time you go to an event, I don't care if it's local, be the last person to leave or one of the last, because that's where the interesting people are. Because the people who are rushing to get out of there, man, they got something else on their mind there. So with this event by design for me, I wrote in my letter to myself at the end of the year. So on December 31st, every year I write a letter to myself, vision casting the best year of my life for 2026. And one of them I wrote is, I attended Jesse Itzler's Built To Speak retreat. It was a quantum leap for me in January, in February, and for the rest of the year. So I'm speaking this into existence, and man, did that really serve me. So now let's get to one of the biggest things that I noticed about being in this room, and this is about the people. What made this container magical and so special? And it was how the people showed up. So despite learning from the best, one of the things that they had us do was prepare 3 different short speeches. The first one being who you are and what you're best at. That's 3 minutes. The next one, they gave us a list of 8 questions, and some of them were a little bit more challenging. Hey, what's something hard you've done in your life? Or what was a shocking moment in your life? That was 3 minutes. And then they had us prepare a 30-second elevator pitch. So for me, heading into this, I'd spent weeks designing these things and even designing things that I didn't even know if they would ask just to be prepared for this. I was legitimately nervous a week before the event. And I think a lot of the people that were there that I talked to, they had a very similar feeling. Not nervous in a bad way, but like in an anticipatory way. And I always think about what Tim Grover says in his book, Relentless, when he was talking with Michael Jordan about this. He says, energy instead of emotions. Get the butterflies all going in the same direction, right? So I've got those anticipatory butterflies, and I could barely sleep while I was there during the retreat because I was just so excited. My mind was buzzing. Just everything was so good. From that perspective, But one of the unique things is, because this is about being a world-class communicator and speaking on stage, we're speaking in front of a room full of peers and the best professional speakers in the entire world, Jesse Itzler included. So this is something that is, one, an opportunity, and two, an opportunity to actually learn and grow and get better. I was not rolling in there thinking that, oh, I'm bulletproof in my speaking. No, I'm going to give the best presentation or performance that I can, and I'm there to learn and get better. And that's something that there was a humility and a humbleness to the other attendees that were there that was very refreshing, because you're in a room full of the best people in the world who are so accomplished, written books, tons of social media followers, big businesses, doing amazing things in business and in life. And then at the same time, we're all putting ourselves out there on what that speech is going to be. And for me, when I signed up for this, there was something on my mind, and this is a continued double down of being all in. So 3 years ago when ChatGPT came out and I used it the first week it came out, within the first minute I felt like I used the internet for the first time, I was all in, all my chips on the table. So once again, when I thought about this room, I was like, my bet is there's not going to be another person in the room there as an AI speaker. It doesn't matter if somebody else is, but my bet is there's not going to be anybody else. And if you had one shot to channel our inner Eminem, to give the pitch of your life about anything that you would want, how would you show up and what would you do? And for me, I was like, let's go. I'm already all in on AI. This is the biggest opportunity in the world to create positive impact in our business and in others' lives. Let's go. And if there was one thing before the event that I could say, man, if this happened, this would make this a 15 out of 10. And that would be to get Jesse's perspective on how he would pitch what I am doing and building and creating in the world of AI. And I hear this when I talk to some of my colleagues who are also operating on this level with AI. And so often we can be in our heads so much because we're so close to it, right? You hear the same jargon or language there, and we're doing our best. We're so intentional about all of this, but sometimes it really helps to get another perspective on things. So when it was time for me to do my who you are and what you're best in the world at speech, I was like, full send, baby. Let's go. I'm Rob Cressy, and I'm best in the world at helping entrepreneurs grow their business with AI from their heart. Boom. And then I just drop in. And I bring a level of energy and intensity and passion to what I do from stage by design, but this is also how I operate every single day. And I know that the room certainly felt that, but the feedback that I received on all of my pitches from stage in front of all of them was the same. And I knew that this is what it was going to be going into this, because it was the number one thing that I wanted to work on when I was there. And that's what I call emotional range. My ability to not just come in at Turbo Rob at a 10 or a 12, but to also work on that 3, that 5, that 7 energy, right? And it's something that I did not successfully do while I was there, and that's okay, because that's why I was there, to grow. And it was a great note to keep hearing it over and over again, because for me, implement at the speed of instruction. All right. And Tristan, one of the presenters, said something to me that immediately had all of this click for me. He's like, Rob, right now, you're like someone who can play 5 notes world class. Like, you are the best in the world at these 5 notes, but you only have 5 notes. You don't have 20 notes. And if you could hit those other 15 notes, man, you would be an unstoppable force. And I saw that, and I saw the hole in my game of being someone who is only bringing 1 note to the table, not having that emotional range, the ability to speed up and slow down and use pauses and do things for emphasis. So this is something that legitimately I'm going to continue to be working on for myself because I legitimately want to create more positive impact in the way that I am a communicator there. So that was a huge bonus for me there. And then let's get to the elevator pitch. So this ended up being the number one thing for me the entire time. So it's 3 days of an experience, and it is the most learning I've ever done in 3 days. It was just chock full. It's why I say this is a fire hose of gold and how I took 59 pages of notes. Because I'm a master of listening, and I believe in abracadabra. I create as I speak. So as a coach, I hear every word that every single person says because what you speak is telling me the story about yourself. So when Jesse or the other presenters are speaking, I'm writing down the individual sentences or the nuggets or the wisdom or the frameworks because each one is a gateway to something for me. And I love it because this is creation. I'm not coming from scarcity. I'm coming from abundance. I'm like, whoa, look at all the places that we can grow with this. This is just a haven for creation, and I absolutely love this here. So the 3 days are just chock full. And I remember Jesse said in the call he did a week before the event where we're just sort of all getting to know each other and setting the expectations, he's like, I'm going to deliver for you guys the formula for creating a world-class elevator pitch. I'm like, let's go. For anybody who's been a part of the startup community or pitching their business, you know how important those 30 seconds can be. So this goes back to the pitching and the positioning of what I'm doing in the world of AI. So it's the last day. So this event goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's a half day Tuesday, full day Wednesday, half day Thursday. It's 12 p.m. on Thursday. Jesse's about to say, hey, everybody, we're going to go to lunch right now, say our goodbyes. It literally feels like he's about to say his last sentence. And I raise my hand. I'm like, hey, we never got the opportunity to hear that formula for a world-class elevator pitch. Do you think that you could give that to us? And Jesse sits there and he's on stage. And he's like, yeah, we got a little delayed in the time because there's just so much going on during this event. We just didn't get to it. Then he pauses for a second. He's like, give me a minute. And then boom, he drops in. And boy, am I thankful. And this to me is all around being willing to create your own experience and being someone who's willing to raise their hand there, right? Because had I not done this, the biggest breakthrough for me would not have happened. But boom, and everybody else in the room was thankful, and Jesse was thankful eventually that I brought this to the table here. And this isn't about me. This is all about actually the room and the container of everything there because I legitimately want to learn this stuff. So Jesse gives us the formula of what he does for a world-class elevator pitch. And then afterwards, he's like, hey, who wants to do their elevator pitch? So a bunch of people are coming up, doing the elevator pitch. And then finally, I raise my hand and do it. And I'm all confident because it's been so good. And I've gotten some feedback on some things. And I've been writing notes. And I already had an elevator pitch. And then I went ahead and I refined it. I was like, oh, here comes Rob, the AI guy again. Man, I'm going to crush this thing. I drop in, I deliver it. And Jesse says in front of everybody, Rob, I love you. And I do not like what you just said. And it is a moment that I'll never forget because it's one of the best moments of my life to hear you think you're all in and you're doing so good on something and to get the opposite feedback. And part of having a growth mindset is you've got to be willing to improve and get better and not think that you're perfect in everything that you do. So to get feedback like that, and Jesse told us he was going to give us feedback like that before we even got in there, I was so thankful because one of the things that he ended up doing was in front of everybody, sort of like talking through how he would pitch what I am doing in AI. And I was like, this is the biggest blessing in the world. And he ended up making it so much more simple for me than I was doing for myself. And it meant the world to me because so often when you're going down one lane, sometimes a slight deviation one way or another can take you off track or it could be better. And man, that was just such a blessing right there. And I'm very appreciative of Jesse for getting that feedback. And that was the beauty of Built to Speak, right? Jesse was present in there the entire time, giving feedback. And to me, I got as much value listening to him and the other speakers give their feedback on everybody than anything else. So it was very much almost like American Idol, where Jesse and Zach and Turney and Jess and Janine and Tristan and Megan, they would be there and give feedback on each person's speech. The good, the what resonated, where they could improve. And just hearing their language and their mindset and the ways that they were sharing this stuff was just oh so valuable. So, loved that part. Here's another good experience that speaks to the world of Jesse. So anybody who follows Jesse Itzler, we know what are some things that he loves? Sauna and cold plunges. So on the second day, in the morning at 7 a.m., there was a sauna session, right? Hey, if you guys are interested before all this starts, we're going to head down and we're going to create a sauna village for everybody. So there is 2 saunas, a bunch of cold plunges. And one of the things that I came in with is I'm down for anything. That this is an experience and I want to experience this fully. So in the morning, we all got in 2 buses, drove down to Chastain Park in Atlanta and had some sauna sessions together. And this is where some of the best conversations happened, where we're just chopping it up ourselves, the presenters, everyone's just like there together doing their thing. And this is such a beautiful thing about the containers of Jesse's events. If you've ever been a part of any of them, I live in Sarasota, Florida, so the all-day running company Clearwater Marathon or half marathon is right up the road for me, and they always have Sauna Village there. And I always love chopping it up because it becomes a shared bonding experience right there. And with this, we're on a tight time frame because the event's going to start at 9 a.m. and there's presenters and there's an agenda there. And Jesse has an idea, and he says to everybody, hey, my house is only 3 minutes away. Who wants to do a group cold plunge where we jump in my freezing cold pool? Who's interested in that? Obviously, every hand goes up. So we end up getting in the buses. It just so happens where I was standing, I was next to Jesse. So I ended up rolling with him and a few other people to his house. And we end up just going there. And I'm seeing as he's like texting and calling his wife, Sarah, on the way and being like, hey, honey, the group's about to come in and do a cold plunge, and it's like 8 a.m. in the morning, which just speaks to Jesse and the way that he thinks about creating experiences and moments and memories. And if you have an opportunity to create a moment, you create it. So boom, the 25 of us get there at 8 a.m. and we jump in his freezing cold pool. And the expectation is we're going to be there for legitimately 7 minutes. That's it. It's like jump in the freezing cold pool, get out, move on. And we all did that. And it's one of those memories you'll never forget because it's part of what makes Jesse the best in the world. It's why he's the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time for what he does because there is no one in the world like him in the best way possible. Because he has a relatability and a heart to him that is one of one. It's world class. So that was just a unique experience, but we all got to take a picture together, and it's a picture we'll all remember because there's 25 of us there kicking it in his backyard at his pool, smiles on our face after jumping in whatever 34-degree water right there. So that was a ton of fun. One of the things that I really enjoyed is the event started on Tuesday, and Jesse actually opened up by sharing his speech. And I've seen Jesse speak before multiple times, which is why I was in the room to begin with. But it was super awesome to see it in person again because then he reverse engineered his speech architecture. And to me, this was, as Tim Grover says in the book Relentless, everything's labeled number one because it's all most important. This is another one of the most important things because throughout the 3 days, he and the other presenters reverse engineered the speech architecture, the storytelling, hitting the beats, the opening, the closing, the working from stage, your stage presence, how you're scanning the room, the pacing, the everything in between there. And to me, that's what I was drawn to so much from this is I want to be the best, I am the best, and I want to work from the best, right? Because a master knows that he is always a student. So I wanted to learn as if I am writing down and studying game film from Jesse Itzler. And there's just so much value to that. It was the inches, the nuances. And what stood out to me was the standard of excellence and what it looks like to be a pro. For me, this is gold. Because when you see a possibility of like, oh, that's how you show up as the best speaker in the world? Cool. Now I can start working on that every single day myself. And I'm just so thankful for Jesse and all the presenters and all the attendees that were there, because this was a magical container that I will remember forever because of how much heart and love and possibility was in that room. There was so much intention from Jesse and Megan and the various people who helped put this thing together, to the presenters and each of them doing a 15 or 30 or 45 minute or hour long speech, to the way that the people showed up there and was there to help contribute to each other. And one of the things that I want to share that was a legit strategy for me is being someone who is world class at being in a room like this. Because there was a group dinner one night, there was lunches and meals together. So this became your family for 3 days. And one of the things that I've got a background in improv, so yes and are the two most important words for me, because it's all around building up and your ability to be somebody who not only supports the space, but brings it up together. So I'm always looking for these little inches. And this is something that I picked up through Jesse throughout the years. So it's like, all right, how can I be the best person at supporting others while they are there? So some simple things that I did was just take pictures of people when they are on stage without them asking, because I would love if somebody took my picture and I could send it to them. Having questions prepared ahead of time to ask them about themselves and their business and their goals, right? Because I don't just want to be like, oh, where are you from? How's the weather? No. Like, give me the good. What's that big thing you're working on this year? Hey, tell me about what you're doing for your business. What are you doing in the world of AI? Any of that, right? Because I am there to be a +1 for them. As at the same time, I'm writing notes, I'm sharing insights. We were at tables of like 6 people. So anytime somebody came off stage, I'm always making sure to dap them up, right? Because these are little inches, because I know what it feels like to be the person on the other side of this, where you're about to give your speech, you're all nervous, your mind's racing, you're thinking about a million different things, and you step off stage, you've just gotten good feedback, you've gotten constructive feedback, you're buzzing, like you're legitimately vibrating. It's like I'm still vibrating. I'm legitimately going to be vibrating the rest of this year by design. So when you come off there, it feels good to have some people be like, yo, you crushed that thing. Awesome job. I'm proud of you. Because these are big moments in each of our lives there. And it feels good to have that container for people. And then after the event, always making sure to slide back into the DMs and send a voice message to the people that I connected with there. Hey man, love connecting with you. You've got to give them a compliment, right? Let me tell you about you. And then, hey, if there's anything that I can do to support you and be an asset on your journey. These are just simple, intentional things that I do that you can do as well that help you be a world-class relationship builder and communicator. So, wrapping a bow on this thing right here. My encouragement for you, there's a few of them. Number 1, put yourself in rooms where you can create your own luck. When you look at 2026 and creating your best year ever, think about what that next level looks like and how can you create that right now before you're even ready. Because this is a testimonial of what is possible when you commit to yourself on the highest level. Number 2, as it relates to the AI era, I highly recommend that you double down on your communication skills. Very few people are going to share this with you because in the AI era, it is unromantic on who you are, what you do for your business, how much money is in your bank account, right? It's going to say, show me the receipts. And the reason you don't hear so many people talking this way about AI plus communication is because most people have not done the work. I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, but entrepreneurship is the greatest personal growth and development program known to man. I've been on this journey for 15 years. I started at zero, no self-awareness, no growth mindset. I've gotten the opportunity to build myself into this person every single day for 15 years. And I share this because this is one of those inches of greatness that can have an infinite ROI when you understand your ability to tell better stories, to be a world-class communicator, to be a better writer, to the way that you can share a message positively, to creating an elevator pitch there. The force multiplier and the quantum leaps that can be created for you when you come from that perspective. And oh, by the way, this is a skill that compounds, and few people are going to wake up in the morning being like, oh, I can't wait to be an authentic communicator. But guess what? This is one of those absolute one-of-one best skills that you can learn. And then the last thing, I'm just thankful for Jesse Itzler and everyone who is in that room. Thank you for the way that you showed up, for the way that you shared. Once again, I highly recommend everybody check out Jesse's Built with Jesse retreats. They will change your life there. This changed mine. I'm so thankful. This is actually just the start of the story, right? I love to do recaps of everything that I do because it's documented a moment in time. And if you have something inside of you that can help even one person, then it's our obligation to share it with others. There's a lot more on the horizon with this that I'm going to be sharing in real time. But once again, I would love to hear from you. Is there anything that I shared that resonated or vibed with you? You can hit me up on Instagram or LinkedIn at Rob Cressy. Sending tons of love and good vibes your way. Have yourself an amazing rest of the day.